Today I'm going to be making my Premier League predictions as of the 28th of January 2024. Now, I've made predictions at the start of the season, which I may react to come May, but I also want to put on record my predictions on this channel. I will probably make a Champions League prediction when the last 16 is around the corner, and perhaps more of these videos do well, but without further ado, let's get into it. 20th, Sheffield United. This isn't exactly a bold prediction. Sheffield have been horrible this season. Aside from the occasional honourable draw or defeat and the scarce win, I don't think anyone has any faith in them staying up. The bright side, I do think they'll hit the 20-point margin, so, good job. 19th, Burnley. I think I had high expectations for Burnley at the start of the season, and I wasn't alone. Vincent Kompany's side, they ate the championship for breakfast, getting 100 points. But they have adapted to Premier League horribly, showing a lack of experience, being battered on multiple occasions. They've missed loaned players like Nathan Tella, and they failed to replace them, while also replacing Murrick, the solid enough keeper in the Championship, with Trafford, who was playing in League One last season and still has a lot to learn. But they have shown against other minnows they can still win games, so I think they'll finish 19th and probably come up again next year as long as Vincent Kompany keeps his job. 18th, Nottingham Forest. Now let me be clear, Forest are a good team. They have a lot of great individuals and they can easily prove me wrong. But I have 3 reasons for replacement. Firstly, Matt Turner has not filled Dean Henderson's shoes at all. He has been at best shaky when playing off in the back and at worst a liability. Secondly, they're likely to receive a points deduction due to FFP. That can be pretty detrimental. So, before we get on to the teams that stayed up, can I just say thank you all for the support I got on the FIFA videos, one of which got over 150 views, which is just insane. I also have gained a bunch of subscribers, which I am very thankful for. So you might as well subscribe to the channel, I would be very grateful if you did. Now on with the rest of the video. 17th, Luton Town. Seems mental to say that Luton are staying up. They have a stadium in someone's back garden, and a year ago no one knew who anyone in their team was outside the Championship or League One fans. But remember I said there was 3 reasons I thought Nottingham were going down. Well, here's the third. Same 3 reasons 3 teams that go up never go down again in the same season. And I mean, Burnley and Sheffield United have as much chance of staying in the Premier League as Mason Greenwood, but Luton have looked good against teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, City and Tottenham, while also grinding out wins at Goodison Park, Bramall Lane and Kenilworth Road twice. Well, it will go down to the final day, and they will have FFP's weird rules to thank, but I think Luton will stay up, only to be hit by second season syndrome and go down a year later. 16th, Everton. If Toby Everton would receive 2 points deduction at the start of the season in September, I would have probably put them rock bottom. Somehow, Sean Dyche's boys have rallied, and they've turned into a team that is very difficult to defeat. They've gone wins against Brentford, the London Stadium, Selhurst Park, Forest, Turf Moor, and won thrice at Goodison, and most of which was just in the last 3 months. It'll get tighter as it probably should, but Everton are also going to be staying up. 15th, Fulham. Now, Fulham are a good team. They were very close to going to League Cup final and finished above Chelsea last season for the first time in God knows how long. I don't see them having very fun the second half of the season. I think they'll be just slop. The worst of the teams not in serious danger of relegation, and 15th. 14th, Crystal Palace. I don't think Palace are that outstanding defensively, and Roy Hodgson will certainly not help. But the reason I have them here and this high is because of Dean Henderson and the 2 men in this photo, Eze and Elise. I think that with these 2 fully fit, they will carry Crystal Palace like Zaha before them, and they'll get relatively respectable but underwhelming 14th. 13th, Brentford. Brentford are on a bad run of form at the moment, but there is one key solution. That is Ivan Toney. There are 2 possibilities for a future. Stay at least until the summer, or leave for somewhere north of 80 million. Either way, Brentford either get a world-class striker or a large paycheck to reinforce their squad depth. But Thomas Frank's a good manager, and Mbobo is a class winger, Wesa and Maupay are good enough backups for Tony, and they're solid enough at the back, so 13th. 12th, Wolves. It's funny because at the start of the season, many were tipping Wolves to go down. The final remnants of the team that finished seventh twice on the bout has been washed away, and they couldn't score to save their lives. And they had former Real Madrid in Spain manager for the ex-Bournemouth coach. But I feel there has been two renaissance at the team: Pedro Neto and Wang Hichan. At the start of the season, Neto was just tearing it up, almost single-handedly beating Manchester City. And if his teammates could head the ball, probably single-handedly defeated Liverpool. But he got injured, and then Wang Yichan came in, becoming an actual goal scorer and an FPL god. While Chan is representing his country at the moment, Neto's returned from injury, and when the two are back, I think Wolves will get a strong, convincing 11th. No, 12th, sorry. 11th, Bournemouth. The club's fortune can really be flipped on its head. Like, it had taken 10 games for Bournemouth to get a win over Premier League opponents, and even that was against a poor Burnley, and they followed it up with a slanking by City and Jeremy Doku. But since the 6-1, they've been like unstoppable. They've won 7 in 9 games. Games with those two being a draw at Villa when they spent most of the game winning, and a loss to Tottenham. They even got a historic 3-0 win at Old Trafford. Like Iriola's gone from being a Spanish fraud and on the scale of Picasso, being a visionary manager. But I think they'll return to normal-ish form, but still be playing great football and finishing just a few points off top half. Like, if you had offered a Bournemouth fan that in October, they would have bitten your hand off for it. 10th, Manchester United. This is probably the most risky prediction on the list. There's a good chance that this will age about as well as Stephen Hawking appreciation posts from December 2023, but I think United have a good chance of falling off even further. And the probability of missing out on top 6 gets bigger, and perhaps the injury list mounts. I think this team of spineless influencers will lose motivation. Like, do you already see Bruno Fernandes or Antony wanting to put in the extra miles to finish 7th instead of 8th? I don't know if Ten Hag will be sacked or not, but if he is, it's going to be a huge win for player power and a loss for the club. United have a problem deeper than Ten Hag, and I think the mother of all clear-outs is needed as soon as possible, or else they'll never return to where they were under Sir Alex. 9th, West Ham. I feel like this is a real achievement by David Moyes and West Ham that 9th in the league while being in Europa League looks like an underachievement. They successfully replaced Declan Rice in a rare mega money deal where both parties benefited, with Alvarez and Ward-Prowse. Kudus has hit the ground running. Bowen and Paqueta are performing at their peak, and they've been solid at the back with Zuma and Areola standing out. However, I don't think they'll have enough to return to Europe, and I think they'll be knocked out of the Europa League by either Liverpool or Leverkusen, who I think will be the two finalists. 8th, Newcastle. I remember watching Newcastle play Liverpool and dominate earlier this season. For 80 minutes, Liverpool were dominated by Newcastle as players like Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali played champagne football. Previous week, they nearly got a result at the Etihad, and they beat a great Villa side 5-1. But since Darwin Núñez was brought on, Newcastle gone from bad to worse. They had the mother of all injury crisis, topped by their star signing Tonali being banned for gambling, and there were large periods of this time where they just couldn't make substitutions. I think they'll improve once they get some key players back, but I think they'll miss out on Europe, unfortunately for them. 7th, Brighton. Yet again, this prediction has potential to be very wrong. Brighton before the season had never been in Europe, and now I'm saying they'll be in it 2 years in a row. Well, there's been a massive injury crisis, and the likes of Enciso, Matoma, and Stupinian, and Dingra, and many others were all out. But yet they still stayed in the race, and when they've had their players, they've been incredible. Even when they've had injuries, they still played a lot of saucy football. I can see them finishing a respectful 7th, but yet again, 6th, Chelsea. I really do not want to put Chelsea here. They have played some abysmal football this season. They've been 10th for most of it, and their best player is a City reserve player last season, and he was 3rd choice on the right wing, and God knows what choice on the middle. But I think they're beginning to kick into gear. Cole Palmer is definitely a baller, and I think at the end of the season, Chelsea fans will wonder where the hell they would have finished if they didn't make that weird at the time signing, and which is why he is the only player in this image. But there will be a large gap in between them and 5th, Aston Villa. Unai Emery's an absolute genius. He went from being the good evening failed PSG and Arsenal manager to being one of the best in the league. The job he's doing at Villa is incredible, but I don't think they'll finish top 4. The fact that some Villa fans will be annoyed to hear this further proves what a visionary Emery is. I just think that players like Leon Bailey and Louise will get injured, and you'll lose your unbeaten run at home to a team you really shouldn't lose it to, and will go to the final day, but use just, and I mean just, will miss out on it. 4th, Tottenham. Tottenham under Big Ange have done better than anyone expected, but Maddison's perhaps our most important player, with the exception of Vicario. Oh, and has been out for a while, and as of writing this, he just made a brief cameo versus Man City. I'm pretty sure Tottenham will finish 4th, but it's a bit harder to tell if it's a comfortable 4th or one to the last day. Gone with the latter, so I think they'll be a bit behind. 3rd, Arsenal. Arsenal were top of the league on Christmas Day, so it does seem a bit odd that they'll finish 3rd. I just don't think they have the flexibility that Liverpool and City have. Like, Saka must be wrecked after playing week in, week out for what, 3.5 seasons straight? Meanwhile, they don't have a real goal scorer like a Haaland or a Salah, and they, by the sounds, won't be getting one, but they do have a solid midfield with Rice, Odegaard. Saliba is probably second best centre back in the league, and they'll still be in the race till March or April at a push, and we'll still get deep into the Champions League, at least the quarterfinals. 2nd, Man City. This is a big call. In fact, in the process of making this video, I've changed my mind on top spot. But I gave it to some thought, and while Kevin De Bruyne is back, he's become more injury prone over the years. So I see Pep resting him a lot more, and that could very easily damage City's title charge, or he could just get injured again. Similarly, Rodri's proven to be almost essential to City's style of play with their weird 3-2-4-1 formation. So if he gets injured for some key players or suspended again, that's going to be very troublesome for Guardiola. I don't think they'll drop many points, but I'd say away trips to Selhurst Park, Tottenham and Anfield will be huge dents for them. Haaland probably get the golden boot with 30 goals, and who knows how deep they'll get into the Champions League, but it's not the end of the world. 1st, Liverpool. Obviously, this is also a big shout, and I'll be more than happy to admit that my bias as a Liverpool fan will influence this decision. But I think the Reds will win the Premier League at Anfield against Wolves. In the fixture, they fell short by 1 point twice. After all, 3rd time's a charm. But I also think Klopp leaving at the end of the season will create more of an atmosphere at Anfield, which was badly lacking in the 0-0 against United and in other games as well as players, and many of which would probably take a bullet for Klopp. I think they'll be mentality monsters for the next 4 months. Obviously, the Liverpool City game at Anfield will be an all-time classic, and I think it'll be a 3-2 win with someone like Endo, Konate, or Gomez creating an Origi-esque cult around them. Obviously, missing Salah throughout the season with injury will have a negative effect, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're short on defensive reinforcement come March if like the likes of Gomez and Konate get injured. But I think Liverpool will just about make it over the line, and they'll win the Premier League on Jurgen Klopp's last game at Anfield. How poetic. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, give it a like. If you dislike it, well, you can't see dislikes anymore, so you might as well like it. Yeah, I hope you subscribe, and perhaps share this video with a friend. But yeah, thank you for everything, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you around.